Hey guys, this is Lucid. I'm going to do a quick update for the patch. Basically, if you look at the patch, there's a few things. We have new heroes for Vanarus, Shinuyama Man, and Ime Zabalba. I'm not sure if I can show you those right away, because I don't think the mod inspector's been updated, and I'm not going to sit around in the game and just spawn them. Some people popped it up on Discord. Let me see if I can find it. This is one of the Zabalba ones, I think. So it's Water 2, Earth 2, Death 1. This is one of the Zabalba ones too, I think. Which is kind of cool. I haven't read through all the description for them. I don't know if people are going to pop up the other ones. I don't see it right now. So anyway. Spell details printed as yellow text. I'm actually not totally sure what that is. So let's actually see if we can find that out. That's one of the ones I didn't look at. Let's look at lightning. Not sure if that's in a battle. Let's see if we can figure that out real quick. I've kind of researched the other ones a little bit, so this isn't all going to be me just rambling around. And let's cast some spells like... not Thunderward. Thunderstrike, and then... this might just be in the description for the battle. I mean, if you do D for details, or the numbers for details. Okay, not totally sure what they mean by that. Because if we look at it here... Yeah, I'm not really sure what this one means. Spell details printed as yellow text. Anyway, it doesn't seem like a huge change. Some of these changes that affect modding, I'm going to skip through too. Late Age Olm can now summon a limited number of unique vampires. So they changed the way Sanguine Heritage works. And this is a major change for Late Age Olm, because it used to be that you would get a shit ton of vampire counts, and you could basically get them for half price as a vampire, but they were just as effective at generating thralls and basically at blood hunting. They could do a lot of things the big vampires could do, but were half the cost. So you didn't have to have research for it, so your blood economy just went crazy. Now you get a limited number of unique vampires. I believe it is, 8 in total? You get a blood 3, who... what does she have? One of these can seduce. I don't think it's this one. She's a blood hunter ability, so she's a really good blood hunter. You have this guy who comes with a full helmet. He doesn't have any body armor, but you can basically get by putting some body armor on him, and he's got a greatsword and life drain, so he's a pretty good thug. And then Fear, and anyway, Pillager. And there's one thing I'm not totally sure about. We'll actually go test it. I think you can get these guys back too if you get them soul slayed, which will actually send him over here to attack. And then in Pythium, oh wait, shit, I don't have any soul slayers. Let's one second. And we need to give Pythium some gems. Okay. Yeah, that guy soloed. So anyway, if you're worried about, this is how good this guy is in combat. He's pretty killy. Oh, he cast something. I'm not sure what it was, but... you can see he's kind of a badass. He is going to get blinded, though. Okay, which is not very good for him. Anyway, he's on top of the fort now, but what we're going to do is empower this guy really quick. And then I think... we're just going to have this guy soul slay real quick. Okay. In case that doesn't work, we'll do it next turn. Okay, that didn't work. This guy soul slay. put you nice up here at the front. And in Ulm, let's just make sure this guy just sits here at the front and gets soul slayed. Because I want to see if we get him back. I'm pretty sure we do. Okay, soul got annihilated, will never come back to this world. Let's see if that's actually true. So if we do Sanguine Heritage... Yeah, we got him back. He's soul slayed, though. So, yeah, like all uniques, you can get them back. They're immortal, so most of the time they die. They're going to come back naturally, but if they get soul slayed, you can get them back by casting it again. So we have the vampire count. Almost all of them, I think except for your seducer, they summon thralls. This lady can seduce, so you have a little assassin who can do all sorts of things like summon imps. Well, summon imps doesn't really work very well because you don't really get blood slaves in battle. But anyway, they can do all sorts of good little things. You get this guy access to Earth and Death for easy blood boosters, and then Father Ill-Earth. This is your only really reliable death blood access is Ulm. We get this guy. Who's an adept researcher, causes unrest. That might be his shtick, as he's good at researching. Yeah. Wait, and something of remarkable skill? Was a scholar and physician. Oh, so is he a healer? I don't think so. Anyway, they all get thralls. Be kind of cool if they gave somebody something different. And then we get this guy who's a different vampire. We basically have 2 vampire counts. Now, the big difference, though, of course, is we don't get an unlimited number of vampire counts anymore. This was not like an addition to Ulm, it was a replacement. It's a reworking of the vampire count mechanic. So, this dramatically, I think more than almost anything, like more than the immortal changes and all that, this changes the way Ulm plays. A lot. This guy's Death 3, which can be important if you're trying to get into Vampire Lords. Because this actually is like kind of a death booster. Because you could be Death 2 with the Skull Staff and cast Sanguine Heritage, and then that would get you with this guy into Death 4. Which if you have blood boosters, this will get you up to where you can summon Vampire Lords. And the blood boosters should be kind of easy if you empower her. You can start making all the blood boosters. So, anyway. That is the change for Ulm, which is this one. Sneaking commanders have gray backgrounds on the army setup screen. So, that is like so. So you know they're not probably going to be there. New layout for host schedules. We're not going to cover these. But this, I won't say this looks dramatically different for the network games. I've pulled it up. The way this works now for select nations for network games, well, I'll just show you. Okay. Is now there's a bunch of spots, and you pick it by, like, when people join, they can go in whichever one. I think this is different than how it used to be, but I can't remember. Anyway, this is what it looks like now. I think before you just joined, and you joined as a nation, I don't think it had the full list at the beginning, but I could be wrong. View statistics and map editor. I'm not totally sure what that one is. We can check that. Wait, whoops. So map editor. Statistics. Okay, so it tells you how many provinces there are, and then the types of provinces, and then how many large and small, and then how many start positions. So pretty useful. That's cool. Next we have Army affecting rituals now target the largest army if multiple armies are present in the same province. So let's say you're a third party and you're going to cast this. So there's actually, okay, so this actually is a question. Like, let's say I'm Pythium in this game. And I have a really big army. And this guy just has this one fucker on top of me, all right? Let's say I'm Pythium, and I have now a really big army. Like a bunch of these guys. Okay, we now have a bigger army. If we cast Flames from the Sky... on ourselves, will this actually target us? So here we go, Flames from the Sky. So it hit them, it targeted them, not me. If it targeted me, I would have killed some of these guys. So I believe, and this is what I thought when I read it, the way this works is if you're a third party, let's say there's another person and they're targeting a spell at a fort under siege, what I believe it will do is it's going to, because they're both enemies to a third party, even if you're like technically friends, it would, I believe before it would target the outside army. Now I could be wrong, it could have been random, but I believed it targeted the outside army. Now I guess it potentially could target the inside army if that army is larger. That's my understanding of that. We could test it, but it would take more time. But I think that's what this means. New summons for some of the Japanese nations. There's 5 of them. And I've got them pulled up here. So I've made them all commanders, but I believe only 2 of them are commanders. I don't think this guy's a commander. So there's 2 commanders and 3 units. One of the units is this guy. We'll look at the cost in a minute. But basically, he's got Throw Flames and Lightning Strike. Is basically a super heavy duty Tengu. A good magic sword, good heavy armor, like very elite stats, plus all, poison resistance, chaos power, very strong unit, and a demon. We've got this guy, the Omekata, and basically it's a big centipede that has 20 protection and a size 6 with fear. The way I look at this is it's a good way to take down super combatants or something that doesn't have really strong poison resistance. And it's also a tanky kind of fear ward that you can put in the front lines of your army. And then finally we have these guys who are, they have Bodyguard 2, which is useful sometimes. They're stealthy and they have magic power. So stats can be pretty damn good in Magic 3. The 2 summons we get are both shape changers. We have these guys who are little death cats. And so you can put gear on them like so. Or you can change shape and you get like a real cat. And it's stealth 80, so very, very stealthy. Has magic power. Now, there's another change we'll talk about later, but now the magic powers also affect stealthy. So this guy can be an extremely good, or extremely stealthy in magic provinces. Anyway, so there's that. I don't know how much that benefit is. We could kind of test it later, but... and then the next commander we get is the Tanuki, which is a Fire 1, Earth 1, Nature 2. And it can shape change between a raccoon and then a little fat squat demon like this. And it's not really a demon, but both of these forms are stealthy. This one is stealthy 80. What's the other one at? Stealthy 82. So they're both stealthy. They're heretics, which means stealthy heretics is automatically useful. And then they can cause unrest. So we'll actually have to go see. Let's go see what the cost is of them now. So I have a feeling they're going to be like down here at the bottom. Yeah, here they all are. So the Okami is the... I think this was the wolf, right? So all the stealthy wolves. You get 10 plus wolves for 6 gems. That's a pretty good deal. Those wolves are pretty good, and in Magic Dominion, they're going to be pretty strong. Definitely strong enough, I think, to raid. Like, well, go back. Definitely strong enough to raid, I think. And so with the squad of, like with 6 nature gems to be able to make a raiding party, that seems pretty cost-effective to me. Summon Bakaneko. This is the ghost cat that we were looking at. And so basically, with 2 nature, you can get a death 1. I believe. Jurajumo? I don't think that was mentioned in the patch notes, but this, I think, is new. I don't know what that is. Let's actually look. Was it? Did I spell it wrong? Okay. 1 sec. I'm gonna pause and get it. Okay, so I got it. It's a G instead of a J. But yeah, they get they're stealthy. Again, they're a shape changer. They can turn into, I believe, a spider. With 26 HP, they've got a ton of different skills. So they're Fire 1, Water 1, which Fire Water is a good cross path to have. And then they gain, they change their path. Oh no, it's still the same. So Death 2, Nature 2. They start off with a bunch of spiders at the beginning of the battle. I'm not sure if that's the same for both forms. Let's check. It is. So they start off with a bunch of spiders. Which kind of screams assassination. Like, these guys would be pretty damn good at that. But I mean, having spiders at the start of any battle would be okay. And it's a fair number. Yeah. Let's go back to this form. But these guys are kind of expensive. 30 gems, but they're pretty good also. They can web spit in this form also, which is interesting. High magic resistance. Otherwise, the stats aren't terribly remarkable. So okay, that's the other one. Let's go back and re-examine cost. Okay. So that guy was 32. The Tanuki, this guy, I believe this was the raccoon. Yeah, it's a raccoon. So this was the raccoon we were looking at. 26 is expensive. The Magina, it's a magical badger. Mugina. I don't remember that. Maybe these are part of Shinuyama basic lore. I think they're not mentioned. Either that or are they not mentioned? Okay, I thought I had kind of prepared for this. Let me go and summon it. Well, let's make sure I know how to spell it. Mujina. Sorry, here we go. Okay, so... Okay, and that is... this guy. Wait, did I already get them? Okay, they have different paths. This one has water instead of fire. And they have a different natural form. This one's also an assassin, whereas this one isn't. Okay. They're only an assassin in their top form. I wonder if any other of these are assassins in their normal form. Like, you are not an assassin in your normal form. You are not an assassin in your normal form. You can't shapeshift. Yeah, okay. So anyway, yeah, this is pretty important. An assassin, pretty damn good thug paths, actually. They have some hit point weaknesses that you could work on, because there's hit point items, but I mean, they could get around that. Expensive, though. Expensive. But not bad. Not bad. And let's just make sure we've looked at all the spell costs now. I know we're kind of dragging on with the Shinuyama. Or this is not just Shinuyama, it's all of the Japanese themed nations. So Jomen and I assume also Dione. I mean, not Dione, Yomi. Okay, so we've been through all of these. The Bakaneko. Let's make sure I got all of them. Okay. I don't know if this one's in blood or enchantment. Okay, I'm not totally sure where the blood guy is. Or the demon. Normally all demons are in blood, but I'm not seeing it. And so that the guy that I'm talking about is this guy. I don't know how we summon him, and I don't know how much he costs. For some of the Japanese nations. I'm not sure which ones these all go on. But anyway, if you're playing one of them, you should probably check to see if you get these summons. Okay. You know... 1 second. If any nation is going to have the blood one, it's going to be Yomi. Because Yomi does dabble in blood with their heroes, at least. No? Okay. So here we go. Yomi does get these guys. For 5 death gems, they get 1 of them. Those guys are pretty damn good at... I don't know if they're worth 5 death gems. Let's make sure and see if Shinuyama gets them. So Shinuyama... does not get them. Okay, so that might be a Yomi thing. Moving on. Okay, Oni generals have better leadership. They can command more units. Bakemono Sho, size increase from 2 to 1. I'm not sure why they did this. Bakemono had kind of human stats at a subhuman size, so I can understand it maybe. But this makes them have... They now just kind of suck. They have lower attack density. I don't think they have more hit points, because I summoned one. And they have the same hit points as they did in vanilla. Right, 9 hit points. Pretty sure this was the same. They also got a mountain recruitment bonus, so if you recruit them in a mountain, they're going to be 1 gold cheaper. Which, in no way does that make up for being size 2, I think. Oh wait, no, this guy is size 1. Okay, I'm not really sure about this. Oh, wait, Bakemono Sho went from size 2 to size 1. Okay. They were size 2, and now they're size 1. Oh, so that makes them a lot better. I thought they always were size 1. Maybe I'm wrong. Oh well. So, okay, now anyway, they're much more viable. Yeah, those guys are sick. They now have really good attack density. This guy, the Shuten Doji, has invulnerability. We can kind of pull him up in the mod inspector. So it's this guy. He's got invulnerability 15. He's expensive, has a life drain claw. He's potentially able to thug now. I could imagine you could come up with some kit that would allow him to thug. Like even maybe just basic armor. Because basic armor plus invulnerability plus a life drain claw, he might be able to do it. Could justify the 100 gold cost. And by thug, I mean like light thug. Like kill limited number of PD. You'd have to put a lot of gear on him to probably make him a real thug. Kappa has land encumbrance instead of negative land reinvigoration. Okay, recruitment rebates now affect price directly. Okay, so they're cheaper to recruit now rather than you get the rebate. Some heroes got older in later eras. I'm imagining this is heroes that appeared in earlier eras. They're probably now with slightly different paths in later eras, but older. I'm not sure what the Siren's lure message error was. Forge item screen now remembers selected item type, which actually is huge. So like if I wanted to go forge a bunch of amulets of anti-magic, I can now click this and I went to the next one, I click it again, and I can like rapidly make more of them. So that gets like, this is my favorite change so far. Though I like the Ulm change. I think it was a very cool way to nerf Ulm. Like this is a huge Ulm nerf, but at least they did it in a cool way. You know, like from a lore perspective, it's a lot cooler. And let's be honest, Late Age Ulm needed a nerf. Like this, honestly too, this nerf is so big to Late Age Ulm that I think they're no longer overpowered, like brokenly overpowered. Like they don't have some kind of blood economy that you're not going to be able to compete with, and they don't have like an unlimited number of immortals that scale exponentially. So I think this was a really good change. I think Ulm is now just like they're a blood version of Ulm rather than like just a vampire powerhouse. So I dig. Anyway, but that one's huge on the items. That's like a major UI improvement. Okay. Burning Mountain site can now only appear in the capital of Phalegra. I'm not sure. That sounds like a bug, how it would have appeared somewhere else. Master of Games starts with the random heroic ability. Detailed Dominion info now takes hostile Dominion penalties into account. So let's actually open this turn up as Pythium. One hostile. Now, my understanding was I don't get income from growth if it's hostile growth. So I don't get it. I mean, like, I'm trying to think of something I can do to improve Dominion. I mean, to give this some kind of negative effect. Like, my understanding was some of the Dominions, like, some of the positive effects did not apply if it was enemy positive. So, like, for Pythium, like, they would get effect from the increased growth, but they wouldn't get effect from the increased income. So, the fact that it just says one hostile, if that's the only change they made, that's not very important. What would be important is if the real income is -8, and that's because it's like 10, -10 plus 2. But my understanding is that it shouldn't be, because like positive Dominion scales are ignored. So either like either the growth income scale does apply, or this change is kind of incomplete. And I'm not sure which one it is, but somebody will put it in the comments and I'll probably like it. Fix for some bad 3D backgrounds in the main menu. Harder to create a temporary file. Okay, these aren't very important. Improve combat speed info on monsters. This basically tells you the basic combat speed and the current combat speed. So if it gets buffed or anything like that. Plate Hallberg defense penalty from 3 to 2. So this is a buff to some units. I'm not sure who has Plate Hallberg. We may be able to find out. Okay, it's used by Knights of the Unholy. So, Airmore buff. Nice. Airmore buff. Basically, all the different... Oh, man. There's just a buff to almost all the Airmore stuff. Alright. That seems appropriate. Oh, wait, no, that's a Rusty Plate Mill Hallberg. Was I looking at the right one? No, used by 78 things. Did they change this one, too? I don't know. This one's defense penalty -2, but it's not as good. Alright, there's a lot of things that use the Plate Hallberg. A lot of them are the Airmore, are like good Airmore, like Praetorian Guard. Some Abyssius stuff. more Airmore stuff. So I think a lot of the Roman type stuff uses it, and some of the Abyssius stuff. And then a few of the Satician things use it too. Anyway, if you've got a troop with plate mail halberd, consider that they have one more defense now, which is not insignificant. Combining multiple PD rituals didn't work properly. So before, there was a bug in the last patch where if you attacked somebody that happened to have Fata Morgana and Mechanical Militia up, it would like completely bug out. But here you can see we've got Mechanical Militia, which they changed to make it cooler. So now you get these like dragonflies if you have enough people that have a magical shock spark bite. And then we've also got these Phantasmal Warriors who are ethereal. It used to be it would like completely bug out and either they wouldn't show up at all or like 1 or 2 units would show up. It was pretty bad. But now they show up properly and they work. So that's cool. So that's nice. That was a nice bug fix. Seduction could result in incorrect message when no commander was found. Not familiar with that bug. Grey One's got too many eyes when imprisoned. Recruitment point is no longer limited at 40,000 population. Could be important for late game if you're recruit point limited, which is pretty infrequent, but anyway, there it is. Bless effects sorted properly. I'm not actually sure what that stands for. Make sure not too many render command. Okay, fix for disciples. The Pangaean White Minotaur is now a multi-hero, so more reasons to go Pangaea Luck. You can get multiple instances of the White Minotaur. Fall damage from Windride is now size dependent. So it used to be, it was basically guaranteed to kill a weak commander. Possible now that's not the case. I don't know the type of damage. I don't know if it's armor negating or if it was limited by protection. But anyway, now it is size dependent, so presumably you can wind ride smaller commanders and they actually have a chance of surviving. Perpetual Storm increases map movement cost. I assume this is for all units, not just flying, though one could test it. But yeah, because normally it would just prevent you from flying on the strategic map, but now I'm guessing it makes movement cost higher for all. Because that would be a real kick in the nuts for flyers if they can no longer fly and their movement sucks. But what I expect is that is the case, but it's also the case that everybody else's movement sucks too. Okay, PD have home province. So this actually is kind of important. I wasn't sure what this one was, but this means that your province defense now have +1 morale, is basically what it means. There's a bonus if you're in the same province you were recruited in, you get +1 morale. Whoops. And that now applies to PD. So PD are less likely to rout. So that is a small, but not terribly insignificant buff to PD. So you PD dumpers out there will be a little happy. Toad Tribe PD fix, I'm not sure what that is. Fire Shield values slightly raised, so I guess Fire Shield's a little better, which, to be honest, I think it could use. It was kind of shitty. A Bane value charm less deadly. Thank God. That's such a shitty item. Mages will refuse to cast Communion Slave when they're the only caster left. That's good fix. There's no reason to do that. Fix for potential double host. Okay, this is a hosting thing. This is significant. Numbness will no longer affect units with cold resistance 5. So even though numbness was like a water spell, it was cold, presumably, it did not affect units that had cold. You could have cold resistance 30. You would still take, you'd still be affected by numbness. And I believe some of the effects of numbness may have been muted by the cold, like maybe some of the fatigue, but the stat penalties you got were very real despite cold resistance. So now basically you're blocked. Which honestly, like that's a small nerf to water, and water doesn't need any more nerfs, guys. Like, I think that was actually kind of like a weird corner case that I was okay with. But anyway, it thematically makes sense, and the developers care a lot about being thematic, like things being thematic, which I'm cool with. Error messages when trying to cast twice board on undead are similar. Okay. Chaos power, magic power now affects stealth values. We talked about that earlier. There's a special new troll province. I haven't encountered that yet, but I'm assuming it's going to be a new set of indies on the map that you can bump into, which will probably be An unfortunate event for an ill-prepared army. A commander's auto-spawned units now appear in the same squad as the unit. This actually was pretty nice, because it used to be, like, if I put this Bakemono show here, and then I put these guys... Wait, that's the one that seduces. It used to be it would always go in the first row. So let's actually see. Yeah, so 20, we'll check it again. Now we have 21. So yeah, they spawn in the correct row. So if you want to have like a dedicated group that all of your thralls are going to spawn into, but this applies for any unit with free spawn, it would normally, they would just always go in the first row, and it was really annoying because you'd have to engineer it so your thralls were in the first row by like moving troops around like I was doing earlier, right? And once you had it like that, then you didn't want to mess it up. Otherwise, you would like commingle these thralls in this formation, and sometimes you get like free spawn undisciplined units that would like mess up your formation completely and weaken your morale and stuff. So anyway, it was kind of annoying. So that's a nice change. Though honestly, guys, you should probably just have it so that they go into, or make it an option. So the free spawn could just go into the garrison or to like the province garrison. Like nobody wants to click them out of the unit that they're in. Okay. Though there may be some issues with that, because you would want it to go in the garrison of the destination province, not the province they start in. Like if I move a vampire over here, I probably want them to go wherever he is at the end of the turn. But even if they were there at the beginning of the turn, it's fine. The only issue is, like, you raid a province, you have a few thralls with your vampire, or that your vampire going to create next turn. If you're moving them back, you probably want the vampires to spawn where you end up, not to just leave them behind right here. So, which is kind of the effect you're getting by having them spawn into the commander's army, because then wherever he goes, like even if they spawn at the beginning of the turn, which I have no idea when they spawn, then they'll be there with the commander at the end of the turn, because they spawn into his army. But if they spawn in the garrison, which would make micro so much easier for nations that have a fair amount of free spawn that way, like Yomi, cough, then yeah, that would be a big quality of life improvement. But so this is like a small quality of life improvement where they're making it so that auto-spawned units will appear in the same squad, or in a squad with the same units. It's not the full quality of life improvement that at least I would want. Name type bug fix for new heroes, not familiar with that. I'm assuming this is a buff to M.A. Zabalba. The Dark Tour now gets a poison spear, so presumably they may be able to expand, because maybe this poison spear is enough better, because Dark Tours suck a lot. But maybe they get a few salvos off of darts, and then they run in with their poison spears and they don't suck. I'm not familiar. I'm not sure. I think they had a club before, but it could be a spear's better. And then some generic fixes. And then some new mod commands. I'm not going to go all through. But anyway, if you didn't want to read the patch notes, or you didn't want to pull up all the units yourself, I hope you found this useful. To see what some of the new units were and things like that and some of the changes. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. See ya.